Rashee Rice looking like he's going to miss at least half a season. Exactly what we've said pretty much the entire way, that he's pleading guilty to some significant charges when this is all said and done. He's not going to be, right now he is, right now he's thinking this is about how much, he can plead down to. Can he miss 3 or 4 games? But what's going to end up happening is about month or so from now, if I had to guess, more charges will be added to the docket. More charges will be on this defense team's plate. And the conversation is going to be had with Rashee Rice. It's going to go like this. Sit down. This is no longer about how many games you're going to miss or what kind of Mickey Mouse charge we can get this down to. This is about keeping you out of prison. And you're going to have to plead guilty to significant charges to stay out of prison. This is not about football anymore. So this half a year suspension's probably on the lighter side, the optimistic side for the wide receiver. He's probably done for the year. And this is only going to get worse. The Fantasy Football Show begins now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Rashee Rice is likely missing a year, but right now the current reports, this one right here specifically, off the back of a couple other reports, so there's several out there, but the Chiefs are expecting, according to sources, Rashee Rice to be suspended for at least half a season. The term at least half a season in this report. I think it's going to be a full year. This came reportedly from, it looks like Steve Smith on a breakdown of this, but this is definitely going to get worse before it has any signs of getting better. That's for sure. I don't think it ever has signs of getting better, period. But what's going to happen is these 8 counts that are currently on tap here are going to turn into about 14, 12, 10, at least double digit, because from what I'm hearing, this is going to be one of those things where the prosecution's going to, the DA is going to pile on charge after count, and slowly do that to kind of overwhelm the situation. And 8 will grow to 13, 14. They don't have to have it all mapped out right now. And this allows, why would you do this? Because you don't want the defense team to have time to prepare for everything, right? You're going to throw curveballs at them. And at the end of the day, when this thing piles up to 12, 13, 14 counts, when you include the abandoning the scene of the accident and the crime, he starts looking at prison time and avoiding prison time as the main objective, not worrying about how many games he's going to play. And once you plead guilty, not pleading down, you're pleading guilty or no contest or whatever, like Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was like disturbing the peace. It was I forget what the charge was. It was something kind of along the lines of like, I want to say like, yeah, it was something along the lines of that. I always forget what the charge was, but it's something like disturbing the peace type of situation. There was even a conspiracy to commit battery, not battery. And so like when you're pleading down to something like that, yeah, you're pretty much getting a criminal misdemeanor, and that's a 2, 4, 3, probably at most 5 game suspension, but most likely a 2 or 3 game suspension. When you're pleading guilty to significant criminal charges that are not criminal misdemeanors. And in the case of Rashee Rice, Texas is throwing the book at him. Texas is making an example out of him. This is not something where he's paying people off. Texas law is coming down hard because Texas has had a problem with drag racing and people getting injured, and there being no repercussions, and they're absolutely using Rashee Rice as an example. So we're pretty much set on this, right? We're pretty much set on that Rashee Rice is missing at least half a year, but everybody should expect him to be out for a whole season, right? A whole calendar year. And at that point, what value does he have left? I don't know. Will he be in his own head? Will the suspension come earlier than later? Will the league put him on on paid leave until this is all worked out, because traditionally the NFL does kind of wait until the legal process is played out. But when the optics are bad, there's the option the NFL has where they can throw a player on the exempt list like they used to do, but they do it paid. That way they're saying we're not hampering the player, we're still paying the player, we're letting the legal process play out, but we don't want the optics of him going on the field, going into court during the week and causing a big mess. Not to mention the team probably doesn't want the distraction, right? The Chiefs are under a spotlight all the time with Mahomes' brother, Mahomes' dad, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, the whole situation there. And nothing's going to hurt their baby, this Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift relationship. That is the KC Chief way now. And so they're potentially wanting the spotlight off this thing. And what are you going to do? Blame a team if they take action? If the team were to take action, and remember the SMU cornerback that was driving the Corvette that was owned by Rashee Rice. If you remember, the Lamborghini was leased by Rashee Rice. The Corvette was in his name, and the guy driving the Corvette was an SMU cornerback, and he crashed. Rashee Rice crashed into the median with the Lamborghini and caused the entire trigger effect of the accident, 6-car pileup. But that SMU cornerback was released, or he was suspended by the team. I don't know if he was. I think he's released too. Was he released? Anybody check on that for me so I don't throw bad info out there. I think he was released, but he was suspended right away. And so the NFL didn't do anything. The Chiefs didn't do anything. But no one's going to blame the Chiefs if this guy's on their team but suspended, or if he's on paid leave and he's away from the team. This is a move that you would respect out of the team, and no one would blame or cast a spotlight on the Chiefs. It would say, hey, he's out of here. This guy messed up. The Chiefs took care of it. If the Chiefs don't do anything, then at that point, then they will have a spotlight on them. So I think the Chiefs might actually step up and do something themselves to get the spotlight off them. Now, granted, there's always constant controversy going on in KC, but some of it is on the peripheral. It's Mahomes' dad. That doesn't have anything to do with players. It's Mahomes' brother. That doesn't have anything to do with players. There's a lot of that going on, but they don't necessarily want another spotlight on the situation. Now, what does this all mean for Mahomes? I think Mahomes takes a little bit of a baby hit in value. I think Mahomes probably becomes quite a bit of a bargain, even more so than he is right now. Right now, Mahomes is kind of drifting in the late 4th round to top of round 5. If you're drafting in a grandma league, people don't know what they're doing. They might take him in round 1 or 2. Sometimes people have those scenarios. Like Smitty in my home league, 1 QB, quarterbacks go in the top 15. I can't help that. But in general, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Link is being dropped in the live chat as I speak right now. Click this link, sign up, be ready for drafting, because we draft live here on the channel. Basically almost every other graveyard shift at midnight Eastern here on the channel. So if you want to get involved in that, we'll be drafting like we did last night. Hit that link right now. The link just got dropped in the live chat. It's in the description of the video. But here's what I would think is the best approach to this whole entire situation. Mahomes. Attack Mahomes. Let him fall. Use it to your advantage. Rubio says, here comes the hot take clickbait king take video. Well, Rubio, no one says you have to be here. No one said this wasn't. There's no roll call here. So if you think this is a hot take clickbait show and announcement, you don't need to be here. No one's needing you to be here, Rubio. So just letting you know. Not to mention everything I'm reporting is fact. And if you want to come in and defend Rashee Rice somehow, that's a bad look on you. Because everything I'm saying right now, everyone in the room, read the room, everyone in the room feels but you, apparently. If you're going to come in and say this is clickbait, hot take Smitty, clickbait video, how is this a clickbait video? What in the hell are you talking about? Back to reality. Mahomes is going to be an absolute steal. He's already going at late 4, top of round 5 on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. I venture to say people thinking he's losing this receiver is going to hamper him. I don't think it will. They brought in Hollywood Brown to essentially replicate what they're already getting out of Rashee Rice. So they're back to square one. Then they draft Xavier Worthy in the NFL draft, which is a phenomenal pick, a speed demon, and the KC Chiefs now have a wide receiver. The Chiefs drafted a wide receiver at 28 overall and made a fantastic draft selection. The league was up in arms. Most people were saying, how in the hell did this even happen? How did the Bills trade with the Chiefs and allow this to even happen? And now all of a sudden, you've got Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown instead of just Rashee Rice. And maybe Rashee Rice comes back into the picture halfway through the season. Maybe he does only miss half a year. And then what do you have? You have an even better wide receiver crew if Rice can even get his head straight at that point. But Mahomes is far better off entering 2024 than he was in 2023. He's got Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce going to be on track, on point. Pacheco will be fine, healthy, ready to go. This offense is better right now than it was exiting the 2023 Super Bowl. So, there we go. There we go. There's your silver lining here. Someone said, oh, there's some good news today. Joking around, and granted, we know there is a lot of negative news all the time. Breaking news shows are at least 60-70% of the time bad, right? They are. But there's silver lining here. The silver lining is in Patrick Mahomes' ADP value, which might drop down to 5.5 instead of 5.1, 5.2. I don't think he goes much further than that. He's kind of like as far as he can kind of go, right? But maybe he scoots down into 5.5 territory, and you're able to get him with the middle of the first round draft selection, whereas you couldn't ever do that. You could only really get Mahomes if you had like top of round 1 draft selection handed to you, pick 1, pick 2 overall, because by the time you got back to round 5, you're picking at 5.1, 5.2, 5.3. His ADP is between 5.1 and 5.4. Now you might get him like clockwork with the 4, 5, 6 overall draft selection, and that's fantastic. That means that you have the ability to get Mahomes now with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe even 6 overall in your fantasy football draft, instead of having to have just a specific, draft selection of 1 or 2, or you taking him early in round 4 with a later pick or whatever. Now you might be able to use 4, 5, 6 draft slots to continuously nab Mahomes in round 5. So the best news, and he's honestly the best pick in fantasy football 2024, outside of maybe Kyren Williams, who continues to fall as well. My 2 favorite players to draft this year based on cost of entry are falling even more. Mahomes is falling even more, and Kyren Williams is falling even more. Kyren is going now, instead of going 13-14 or 12-13-14, sometimes he goes a little later, but very rarely. It's really 13-14 ADP value for Kyren. That's where Kyren's been floating as of late. The man that was on pace for 21 touchdowns. The man that ran for 12 touchdowns and scored 15 touchdowns in 2023. The man who was, if he played 17 games, and you could say that's your problem, you don't think he will, the man that would have been only behind McCaffrey. He'd have been running back 2. He'd have been behind McCaffrey and McCaffrey alone. 12 touchdowns on the ground in 12 games. 15 total touchdowns. Everybody's scared of Blake Corum. I'm not scared of Blake Corum. Do I want to cuff Blake Corum? Sure. Has Kyren missed games? Yeah, his rookie year, he missed games. Last year, he missed games. I get it. Everybody's scared of Kyren getting hurt. And Blake Corum is a fantastic cuff. And if you're drafting an Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, and that link again is right here. Let me drop that link in the live chat. We'll be drafting late nights, so make sure you're subscribed and ready to rumble, ready to go. But on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, I'm going to advise you 1,000 times out of 1,000 to go ahead and draft Kyren Williams with Blake Corum. And cuffing Blake Corum shouldn't be too difficult. We'll see where his ADP levels. Maybe people start taking him as like a standalone, like running back 3-4, which will be a shame, but maybe it'll still be affordable to cuff to a certain degree. We'll have to check it out. But I'm not worried about Blake Corum. He's not taking half the work. What world do you live in where you think this man, who showed he's one of the best between the tackle runners in the National Football League, that a man that abuses his running back so much that people say that McVay's going to break him, a man like McVay that abuses his running backs is going to go to a committee? He doesn't go to a committee. He used Todd Gurley, broke Todd Gurley, but we got plenty of time before we're worried about the wheels falling off on Kyren Williams. He plays for Sean McVay. McVay loves to ride one running back, and he's going to do so with Kyren Williams. Corum might spell him a little bit. We want that. Name a running back that's not giving up 20% of his work. Every running back will. Every running back should. Kyren hasn't been. And maybe they realize we need somebody in there so Kyren doesn't have to take the whole 100% workload. And that's fine by me. And it's a great cuffing situation. But one of the very best picks in all of fantasy football, if not still the number one overall pick in fantasy football in terms of picking somebody that's going to explode from their ADP. His new ADP on Underdog Fantasy, let me see if it's even moved. They update this thing about every day or two. And it's been absolutely marvelous looking at this ADP drop. I've been excited every single time I pull it up. It's been unreal. It's been fantastic. It's been glory. Kyren's now at 18 overall. Not 13, not 14, not 15, not 16, not 17. He is now dead smack in the middle of round 2. And dare I say, this is people adjusting to the dust settling. He might even fall to 20 overall. I venture to say 18 to 21. 18 to 22 is probably where he kind of levels out. The fact that you can get Kyren Williams with a 6 overall draft selection in the second round, though, you can be handed the 1 pick, the 2 pick, the 3 pick, the 4 pick, the 5 pick, now the 6 pick, and still get Kyren Williams. That is league winning, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jamar Chase or JJ and Kyren. Achane is also falling. Achane's ADP 20.8 instead of being about 15 to 18. So he's dropped about 2-3 spots since he got his Jalen Wright backup scare, which I'm not scared about at all. Kyren, Achane, let people be scared. Let people be frightful. These are Saturn men. They're not going anywhere.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Look at him.
He's Kyren, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Yeah. Kevin Smith, I don't hate your comment, Kevin, but like Kevin says, Tomlin learned his lesson. Maybe McVay will too. I don't think McVay's learning anything from any of us, Kevin. I don't think McVay's learning anything from this comment or anybody else's little petrified Peter concern about breaking a running back. I think he's pretty much seasoned into what he's going to be doing for the remainder of his career. I don't think he needs any lessons from anybody. I think what he can do with Kyren, he will do with Kyren. What he did with Todd Gurley, he did with Todd Gurley, and it worked out pretty damn well. Did he break him a little earlier than normal or a little faster than maybe not? Maybe Todd Gurley would have broke anyway because he had a lot of arthritis type stuff in his knee going on from other injuries. I to be honest with you, I don't think McVay needs to learn anything. He has one of the most potent systems in the National Football League. Now, do I think they want to bring somebody in that they trust because they didn't have anybody to keep Kyren healthy? That's not him learning anything, bro. That's common sense. And you probably want to get an 80-20 at least, or maybe a 70-30 type of split going on to make sure you keep your running back healthy. That's not him learning anything. That's not him understanding something he didn't know. That's common sense. They didn't have that last year. This is why they drafted Blake Corum, and Blake Corum does share some of the same characteristics of Kyren. So it will be a fantastic coupling of these two guys, and they're a great handcuff, no doubt about it. You don't think McVay is in here? Have more confidence in your game, Smitty. Thanks, Kevin. Now that's a comment I can get behind, Kevin. That is a Smitty approved comment.
You've just been Smitty.
Mustard says, give me Blake late, passing on Kyren Williams. Well, you can't even spell his name right. Kyren Williams, well, no, you don't deserve him anyway. You're passing on Kyren at 18. Tell everybody, Mustard. You kind of go against the grain of the show anyway. So whenever we see this, we kind of get confirmation that we've got a lot of scared Scotties out there. So thank you for confirming that. I'm just saying, you do tend to, I think, lean a little anti-show. So I love seeing that. That makes me feel like I'm on track in terms of knowing what the pulse is and temperature on this thing. So thank you very much, and I hope so many people feel the same way. I hope so many people feel the same way about Kyren. There probably is quite a bit of Kyren. I haven't read as many things as possible here. No video beats the H-N video. I beg to differ, Brandon. I beg to differ. Have you seen the Marvin Harrison Jr. video? That's what I thought. I mean, I guess the H-N one's pretty damn good, but the Marvin Harrison Jr. new one is fantastic. Show Planet Uranus.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
It's kind of an intriguing, group of comments here. Honestly, Kyren is replaceable, says Crackshot. That's a Planet Uranus moment. Doubting Donnie says JD5 equals RG3. Which, his rookie year was exciting. Paul Wakefield says Gibbs is a low-end 1. Next. James P. Some of these are brand new. Brees Hall is undraftable. That was last year. Bakes a Lot says sell Kyren Williams. He is at his highest value. That's Bakes a Lot. Nico says Achane looks the same. Stop hyping this BS up. That was Nico. Acting like Kyren didn't gain a whole bunch of weight. I'm sorry, Achane. In and Out to Uranus. That's a dumb comment if I've ever seen one. In and Out's a fantastic place. Like, what are we doing here? Ray says Tyler Algier is better than Bijan. That was a ridiculous comment. Al Bundy says Patricia Mahomes. Raheem Morris is Garbo. Wait until you see what Raheem Morris does this year. Kyren can easily get replaced by a day 3 running back, says Kazi Tex after after the drafting of Corum. So these are all the amazing, and then of course we got Deshaun Watson, a staple on here. Arthur Smith will always be one of the leaders of Planet Uranus, and then Rashee Rice is walking on here too. So those are our guys. I love Brees Hall is unreadable. Yeah. Singletary and Tracy should be nice. Tracy's kind of a nice bet. But guys, today, good news. Rashi Rice, that's not good news, but the good news is that Mahomes' value is going to be even better than it was before. That's kind of the premise of this show, to be honest with you. Like, if there's one takeaway here, it's not about anything but Mahomes. I mean, who's expecting Rice to play? We've been talking about this all offseason. People expecting Rice to play are going to be let down. He's going to miss at least half a year, according to all these reports. And not that these reports are accurate. I think they're not. I think he's going to miss an entire season. This was interesting. This is from Devontae Adams. If Adams had known how talented Jordan Love was, he might have stayed. Eyeball emoji. So he made some comments saying, this is what I should do, stay with the Packers in hindsight. When he talked about how he's effing balling out, man. So that was interesting. I mean, grass is always greener, right? And Adams shouldn't have left. Adams didn't think he had something in Jordan Love, and now look at him. He's got no quarterback. And they went through a whole draft with a top 14 pick, and they didn't get a quarterback. And there's 5 of them. And they didn't even draft, Rattler, or didn't go after Joe Milton, or go after Jordan Travis. Like, I mean, come on. So Raiders kind of crapped the bed, and Adams has got maybe the 1 year left, right? So Adams is looking at Father Time and saying, man, my one last year, and he probably thinks he has more time than that, but he probably wonders, my last year I get no quarterback? Like, what a way to go out. So that kind of sucks. This right here has been a big piece of drama on Twitter, where Dion talks about his son, Shedeur Sanders, going top 5. There's been a lot of trash talk between a lot of people and Sanders, and Sanders talking about former teammates, and teammates saying that, Coach Prime, his dad, Shedeur Sanders' dad, didn't, take time to get to know certain guys, et cetera, did a bad job here, a bad job there. So Sanders says, I don't even remember this guy being on the team, and everyone's saying it's a bad look for Sanders. It's a bad look for both Coach Sanders and Shedeur. But, it's a little trash talk, and, he's defending his dad. Now his dad's defending him and retweeting other individuals. This one came out here. This was from KB saying, tell your son to stop acting like he's the coldest out here, then put up 4-8 season. And then Coach Prime says he will be a top 5 pick. Where's your son going? LOL. I got time today. LOL. So a lot of trash talk going on. But Sanders could be the number one. Could be. May not be. Look how things fluctuate when you get close to draft time. You get fatigue on these top guys, right? So Sanders right now, though, is the expected number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft this time next year. We'll be talking about him being maybe a Raider or probably a New York Giant, by the way the Giants are looking right now. So Shedeur Sanders to Neighbors will be a whole different Malik Neighbors value. That's going to be interesting and intriguing. Imagine Malik Neighbors catching footballs from Sanders. That might be pretty interesting, exciting, and definitely turn Neighbors' value around 180 degrees and send him to the moon. Same thing with, any other player. Like, what about Brock Bowers and Shedeur Sanders? That's pretty good if he goes to LV. Phone lines are open. Dial into the Attic phone lines, formerly known as Grindhouse. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
The Attic, best place to get your apparel. I'll tell you that right now. Dial into the Attic phone lines, formerly known as Grindhouse, and your boy will be here to answer the call. And on that note, based on popular demand, I'll give you a little taste of the Marvin Harrison video, which you've all been waiting for.
Hi. What would you like?
Footballs, please. Lots of footballs, please.
Coming up.
He's Marvin, he's 11 feet tall, and he loves to consume the football. He's Kyler, he's 4 feet tall, but Star and Marvin will answer the call. They're Kyler and Marvin.
There you have it. I've thought about redoing the song a little bit. I like the song, but I think I can make it a little bit better. I think the lyrics could get upgraded a tiny bit. I'm not sure, unless everybody loves the lyrics and the fact that they don't even really go anywhere. I don't think the 11 feet tall. Everybody's getting taller as we go, but this might be the tallest man. Marvin might be. We might stop at 11 feet for a while. That might be the tallest fantasy football human being on the planet at this point. Marvin to the moon. We'll have a couple more Marvin bits here in the coming week. Dial in if you guys want to have a conversation about Rashee Rice, Patrick Mahomes, anything relating to any of this. Jordan Love, Devontae Adams' comments about Jordan Love, Shedeur Sanders, any of the other topics we've talked about the last couple of days, or maybe you have a fantasy question. Bob from Cali, you are live on the Fantasy Football Show, pal.
Hey, Smitty, one of the commenters mentioned Kamini Vidal. I think he was like a 6th-round pick for the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Who exactly is going to be the main go-to guy there? They have Edwards, Dobbins, and Kamini Vidal, 6th-round pick. Who's the guy?
The answer is it's probably a 3-headed monster, bro. And Gus is going to definitely start it off. They called him the finisher. They called him the bruiser, the tank, the bowling ball, the finisher. So Gus is starting out, but if he doesn't stay healthy, then it goes over to J.K. Dobbins, who was quoted saying that, I forget the exact quote, but like that basically it was a walk in the park, his Achilles recovery, which is the biggest lie I've ever heard. Like, your Achilles is not a walk in the park. And not to mention, he's not even close to being healthy. So he can say that all he wants. Players always say that, but you're even if you can run and you're doing stuff like inside internally, his Achilles could not be 100%. Like, he's putting himself at risk by even going on the field and cutting full go. And he may not know that, but we saw what happened with Cam Akers. You come out too early and you start playing running back. There's a reason that Durant, other positions in the NFL, there's a reason that other people recover from Achilles tears, because they're not doing exactly what a running back is doing. A running back is literally getting hit by 4, 5, 6, 7 people every time he touches the ball. A wide receiver might not even get tackled, or he might get run out of bounds, or he might get hit by a D-back. By one D-back, he might, initiate the collision. A running back is running through a hole, and people are just trying to take him out. And he's getting hit left, right, left, right, left, right. And you can imagine if you've got a vulnerable Achilles that's healing. Imagine like going into the body and like your infrared, and you see this cord, this Achilles tendon, this tendon that looks like a cord down the back of your calf into your heel. And you see this thing planting right and then getting hit left, and it's just like flexing left and right, left and right. Running backs are getting hit differently. That's why an Achilles tear running back has never, ever, ever, ever been a top 10 running back after an Achilles tear. Ever. In the history of the NFL, we have never seen an Achilles tear running back recover and become a top 10 running back. Ever. Deonta Foreman is the most successful Achilles tear recovered running back we've ever seen. And he's done pretty well considering. But guess how long it took him? Years to get to that point. He was not good his first year back. Cam Akers looked horrible, for a while. And what he do? He compensated and tore the other one. I'm worried about Aaron Rodgers. I'm worried about Kirk Cousins. Those guys have a very high risk of tearing the other Achilles because they're 36 years old or whatever. But J.K. Dobbins is one of the most injury-prone running backs in the National Football League, and Vidal could have, 4 starts minimum. I mean, it could happen, yeah. So he's probably the guy I'd take. I wouldn't touch Gus Edwards. I wouldn't touch J.K. Dobbins. Take a stab at Vidal, grab him later, and hope he gets something. But I'm not excited about anybody on this team, but maybe McConkey. No one else is worth drafting. Not even Herbert. I mean, he's worth drafting, but I don't want him. I'd rather draft somebody else.
What about the kicker?
I don't know. I have to think on that one. Because I think they're still going to drain the clock on average, right? They're going to be a clock-draining team and, less scoring. There'll be more lower-scoring games than high-scoring games, so I'd probably say I don't want the kicker. I don't know. Maybe the kicker. Maybe McConkey. Maybe Herbert as my backup. And that's it. And I don't even know if I want that. I hate to say it. And Charger fans get really mad at me. And on my Instagram, and I'm called The Fantasy Football Show, might I remind you. On my Instagram, I told you guys on my last video that the Chargers was going to be very different than anybody thought. And and this one got it's 100,000 views or something like that. 150, 140,000 views. So it brought in a lot of random comments. And everybody in the comments, you can read every fourth comment's fantasy football is not important here, or fantasy football, no one cares about fantasy football. It's like you're on a fantasy football page talking about the fantasy football values based on the coach and what he's doing, and these people are clueless in the comments just going, this guy clearly doesn't know how football works. Yeah, this guy clearly doesn't know that you build through the trenches and the team's going to win. No one's talking about any of that really at this point. You're on a fantasy football show. You're on a fantasy football Instagram page. You're in a fantasy football comment section. And we're talking about how this team is not going to be as fantasy football potent because of this man, Jim Harbaugh, whether it works or not, whether building from the trenches is the best way to do it or not. I don't care about any of that. Of course, I understand it. I couldn't do what I do without understanding football first. So casuals that say, oh, he only knows fantasy football, those are the dumbest comments that I ever see. Because you have to know both sides of this thing to do what I do. You can't, it's like so ridiculous that people think I don't understand football. Like, but that's okay. I don't care about those people. Those people don't watch my show. So I could really care less. But it'll be an interesting year for sure. Does Herbert have a chance of being, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 overall in fantasy? Maybe. But I think if anything has been proven, I think everything has been proven correct that I've said so far in Harbaugh. Like, he's done everything that we've basically mapped out. Got rid of all the wide receivers. Oh, that means he's getting Neighbors. No, it doesn't. He didn't get Neighbors. McConkey's good, but aren't we a little worried about McConkey getting fed like he's an absolute wide receiver one, or is he just another guy in this offense? This numerical locker room where you're lining up in numerical order. There's no big heads. There's no me. It's all we. And while that can win, and I'm not saying that some fans won't want that, I kind of like this college feel. I'm just saying it's not going to be exciting. If anybody's thinking they aren't draining the clock and they think they're just throwing, fade touchdown throws into the end zone all day long, they got another thing coming. What else you got, Bob?
You kind of touched on it there for a second. I know they drafted Rice and like another 6'3" or 6'4" dude. I think out of Michigan and some other place. I'm a Chargers fan. I really want them to do good. I want Herbert to do good. I want them to put up points. But I just have a big question mark over that entire team. I have no idea what they're going to do.
As you should.
I feel like there's a high probability, as you mentioned, they just do exactly what they did at Michigan. But there's a part of me that really, really hopes that Herbert's ability supersedes John Harbaugh's playmaking abilities, and instead of going for the short 10, 5-yard passes, he just starts lighting it up and throws it downfield for like 20, 30,
but
40.
let me ask you a question, though, one at a time. Did getting rid of Keenan Allen help get you to that place? For a ham sandwich, by the way. You traded him for a ham sandwich. Did getting rid of Mike Williams help you get to that place? Did passing on Neighbors help you get to that place? Did passing on Dunze help you get to that place? Did bringing in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, your brothers' running backs, the all ACL team, one of them also an Achilles recovered player, did those help you get to that place? Like, has he done a single thing to indicate to you that he's not draining the clock versus tossing missiles? Like, not one move, bro. Not one. McConkey, possession guy. Not deep threat, field stretcher. Like, name one move. One single move. You can't. You can't.
He can't. He started. He got a 4th round. Probably could have got a 3rd or a 2nd. Gave away Mike Williams for free. He should have been traded earlier. Not sure if that was possible.
No, but name one thing.
No trade. But they don't have any. They don't have any.
Right.
They started and then they didn't get enough. So
they did, but they haven't done one thing to do what you're suggesting. That be this, missile striking, air attack. The other thing that I was saying, Joe Alt didn't help Abanto with what I just said. Did he help drain the clock, protect Herbert, and build from the trenches and run the ball? Yes, but Joe Alt's not helping them throw missiles down the field. Maybe that gives Herbert more time, potentially, you could say. But none of this is a direct correlation to throwing the football down the field. Brandon Rice is interesting. I like him, but I don't even know if he'll get a fair shake right away. Quentin Johnston's the best receiver, or the most, I guess you could say, I don't even like him. He's the most ready receiver in this offense. And McConkey, again, is like you could think of him as a possession guy. Some people say there's injury concern, whatever. I like him a lot. I think McConkey in Buffalo would have been great, but he is definitely not the guy that's going to be stretching the field constantly in this field. He's a very amazing footwork route runner across the middle, kind of very Puka Nacua, but maybe a little bit less downfield Puka Nacua, more of a whole bunch of what Puka does across the middle. So
he's had some back issues.
Yeah,
he's had some back issues at Georgia, and he's not like
there's some injury concern. So get ready for a very bland attack, but it doesn't mean you won't win. I've never said that once. I said I wonder. I don't know. I don't have I won't sit here and predict you win, but I certainly have never once said Harbaugh's going to fail. I just think it's going to be the most boring fantasy football offense in history. And while a Chargers fan or a build from the trenches, Troy might say, oh, well, that's you build a team. Then go build your team. I'm not here for that. I'm here to describe what's going to happen. And I feel like I've dialed it up to a T. I don't think I've missed a thing on Harbaugh yet.
Or a wide receiver 2 in the offense, and we just can't see it?
Do I think what?
Is there a possibility there's a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2, like a top 10 guy in that offense, and we can't see it?
But can you name one thing they've done even outside of that? Let's say Brandon Rice was this elite talent ready to break out. Can you give me one single thing you've done to suggest he's trying to stretch this thing out and just have an air attack? There's nothing there. So I know you want that. You're trying to get me to find it. Brandon Rice is your only hope, really. I guess, of being a field stretcher. I like him a lot. I believe one of his last touchdowns wasn't it with one of the quarterbacks? With one of the quarterbacks, wasn't it? Was it Penix Jr. or Joe Milton? It might have been Joe Milton's throw. Who was it that caught the pass? Brandon Rice, I believe, was involved in that really long bomb during one of I think it was the combine or the pro day, I forget. But he shows some field stretching ability. But you want some hope. There you go. I guess there's your hope. But this is gonna be at best middle of the pack passing attack. At best. That's like being optimistic. You got a lot of...
I look at the team and I see the Texans, but without the flashiness yet. I feel like I do. They have a solid line. They have wide receivers. Nobody thought Nico Collins was going to do anything. Nobody thought Dell was going to do anything. I don't know. I just feel like there's a big question mark. And if whoever gets it, they're going to be great. Thanks for the phone call.
Maybe, Bob. Maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I just think everything so far, if you banked on this offense being a field stretching team, it's not been that every step of the way. All right, later, bro. Yep. It is funny how many people want to defend this, though. It gets nasty in the comment section, especially on Instagram, where people randomly come in because they're Charger fans and they don't even read the room. They don't even understand what building they're in. They're in a fantasy football building. They're in a fantasy football house, and they say things like, something about building from the trenches is how you do it. What are you talking about? When my comments are all, this is going to be a run heavy college football, Michigan State feel, drain the clock, try and be as efficient as possible, and drain the clock, which there's nothing wrong with, but it has nothing to do with being an air attack. Letting Eckler go, maybe he wasn't going to do anything. Letting Mike Williams go, maybe he wasn't going to do anything. But sum total, Keenan Allen for a ham sandwich, maybe he would have got hurt. All these things just add up to do you think it's more predictable that he's draining the clock or throwing dimes into the end zone? You be the judge. I think I've already mapped it out pretty clearly. McConkey isn't a slot receiver. He's a He's a vertical threat. He's not a vertical threat. He's a very, very, very good route runner, quick feet, could stretch the field. Not saying he's incapable of it, but he's not a top 10 deep threat, field stretcher. Call your boy loud. What is going on? Call your boy. You're live.
Smitty.
Yo.
What's going on?
Not much.
I just want to touch back on, I don't know, I'm not sure, I didn't look when the Kelsey news broke, but do you think Mahomes ADP on underdog promo code Smitty is about to start falling again? Or?
You mean the Rashee Rice news? You said Kelsey news.
Well, no, I mean, like, I don't know if the Kelsey news brought it up any, like brought his ADP up any, but do you think it's going to go back to where it was or fall even more?
Well, as of today, Mahomes' ADP fell below Stroud again, which is great because he had climbed above Stroud by 2 or 3 or 4 spots. But he's down at 48.4 now. So that's awesome news.
Yeah, I'm still taking him there.
That's really good news. I mean, do I want him to fall a little bit later? I think he could. I think since this news just dropped right now, we're probably looking at, I imagine, a 2 or 3 drop, 2 or 3. Yeah, I'd say probably 2 or 3 pick drop, maybe 4. Wouldn't you say? I think that sounds appropriate.
I saw Kyren. He was falling a little bit. He was falling on a good 7-8 picks already.
Yeah, Kyren's been falling like crazy.
He was at 18, I think, really.
It's amazing. I'm so pumped about Kyren's ADP. But yeah, I got Mahomes. Let me put that on the screen here and show Mahomes' ADP because this is damn good news. I mean, the ADP again is the thing about ADP data. Once they do a new drop like this Best Ball Mania, and they've had like a break, and there's a big significant change in the NFL and player movement. The NFL draft. So they shut down in the NFL draft took place, and then they restart everything. But the problem is, or not the problem, but the issue with accuracy out of the gate would be that you're talking about using the old ADP data for the first, 100 or 1,000 drafts, right? So people are going to be influenced by the suggested rank, and if Mahomes hadn't moved yet, if Odunze hadn't moved yet, and they throw that ADP out there to suggest the rank, then you're relying on everybody to draft around the suggested rank and then let the ADP get manipulated. And that has a slow falling effect. So in the case of Kyren, the news about his, Blake Corum competition, running back by committee threat that everybody's scared of, it's going to have Kyren being suggested high, and then everyone's going to kind of like let him fall a little, and you're going to see him slowly fall. We just don't know where the safety net's going to be. And the same thing with Mahomes here. Rashee Rice, I mean, we're still getting Mahomes' ADP to settle from the underdog drafts being launched. And now you get this news. Yeah, I mean, 40.8, 40.0. So they're like tied, essentially. But I think he was going at like 53, 54 a few weeks ago, right? So if I pull up a Best Ball Mania draft right now, let me find one that's ongoing. Actually, I can't because they're not far enough along. Let me go into my Best Ball Mania drafts that I did the other night. The only problem is if I do the ones with you guys, we're going to have Mahomes higher than normal. Let me go into one where I didn't draft with you guys. Mahomes went at 46 overall. So a touch before this one. In another draft, Mahomes went at... The only problem is I might draft him in a few of these, so hold on. Let me find out. Mahomes fell to 47 overall to me. So I'm snagging him a couple picks early probably. Let me go to this draft. Mahomes fell to... Good God. Jalen Hurts fell to 38, top of round 4. That's crazy. So Mahomes 47. And then another draft 50. So 5.2, 4.10, 4. So He still isn't cemented into round 5 again, but I think that will happen with this news, or it could. Losing Rashee Rice for half a season is going to affect some people because the knock on, and Dan the Grim Reacher, thank you for the $2 hauler. He says Dynasty Superflex need one QB, May versus JJ. I'd probably take May. I like JJM a little bit, but not as much as May. I don't hate JJM. I just don't think he's an elite player. He could be. I just don't think he's ready to be an elite player now. May has a better shot at being an elite player, in my opinion. But JJM's got JJ Justin Jefferson, though. So, I mean, I don't know. Chat, what do you think? JJM or May? I'd go May. Thank you, Dan, for the super chat. But I think that people are already doubting Mahomes enough, right? Because why? Because he had a bad year. So if he had a bad year and now he loses a receiver, those people on the fence are going to jump. They're going to jump off the train. So I do think he'll get into the 5.1 again. I don't know if it goes to 5.5, like I said at the beginning of the show. We'll have to see. I hope so. I hope so, bro. You're talking about Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers. You're talking about Mark Ingram, James Cook, Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, Christian Kirk. That's where Mahomes is kind of going. Oh, man. It's a steal. It's a straight-up steal. Would you buy Justin Fields in Dynasty? Absolutely. But you don't need to buy him as a starter, so you're buying him as a backup. So a couple second rounders I've given up for Fields in one league. In Superflex, I've even tried to do that kind of thing. Like rookie picks like that for a quarterback. Absolutely. Call your boy. What else you got? Thank you for the super chat.
One other thing, I just think it's been weighing on me a little bit. I just want to know what is there context we're missing on why Caleb Williams would be texting the punter about how often he's going to be punting? It just confuses me why like that's not a good thing to do, I wouldn't think.
Well, okay, so I almost try and not talk Caleb as much as I like, but you brought it up. No, it's okay. You brought it up, so I'm going to talk about it. But I'm just saying, for everybody that says, God, you hate Caleb, why don't you give it a rest? Like, people bring it up, okay? So this is not me trying to generate this. But already you've got, I don't want to say a beef starting, but you had something brew enough that Jalen Johnson had to clear the air with Caleb and essentially apologize or clean slate it, right? Clear the air when he said that don't bring that Hollywood into the locker room and that they're going to test his weaknesses and try and turn them into strengths. Like, we're going to put the clamps on this kid. And so, like, he had to apologize for that. Already creating, like, beef there. The whole thing when he was interviewed, and again, he might have been tired. One thing isn't a big deal, but with all these things, you look at it. When Caleb was being interviewed, like, I don't know, about half a week ago, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, they asked him about his offensive and weapons, and he described everyone but DJ Moore. I mean, he went through the entire gauntlet of players, and he didn't mention DJ Moore's name. He said, we got all these guys. All of them are here. And he read them all off, and he didn't say DJ Moore's name once. So, is there a beef there? And some might say, come on, you're reading into this, but, like, we don't know. We don't know because he's already got beefs with other players. And then he texts, as Call Your Boy Loud said, he texted the punter and said, I think he texted him. Did he text him or did he just tweet him? I think he texted him, right? He texted him and said, you're not going to be, he just got drafted. Like, the guy, he's texting a guy who does a certain job. I get it's kind of funny to be like, hey, you ain't going to be punting, pal. We're going to be scoring touchdowns. But like, it's still also this guy's moment. He got drafted by the team. He's going to be the team's new punter. And he texts him and says, your job's no longer needed. It is a stupid text. It's a dumb move. Like, the guy's excited about his new home and what he's going to be doing. And you're literally telling him he's worthless. Like, so Caleb is constantly already prying into these weird situations and just getting involved in some crazy stuff. And it's like, I feel like this is like with the Harbaugh stuff. Like, it's so evident to me what's going on, and I feel like it's so evident here what's going on. People just think I'm crazy, but like, Caleb is constantly stirring the pot already, and it just he loves the spotlight. He loves it. It just, at some point, these are going to start adding up. Some would say he's a very likable guy. And then other people say he's a very unlikable guy. He's very hard to like. He's very hard to root for. In my opinion, he's very hard to root for. I don't dislike him as a human. I don't have hatred for anybody. I really don't hate Caleb at all. I don't hate anybody. The only person I probably hate is never mind. I'll just leave that. I don't hate anybody, really. I really don't hate anybody. Hate's a bad thing to have in your heart, as Will Smith said. Will Smith, ironically, the guy that slapped Chris Rock on live television. Hate in your heart will consume you too. Okay, so no hate for Caleb. However, it's hard to root for him. I think only Bears fans that are wishing for the best can say the opposite. Like, he's so fun to like. The Bears thing. Can we get a Bears fan to call in real quick? Call your boy loud. Are you a Bears fan? Are you a concerned? No. Okay. Can I get a Bears fan to call in, please? I just have a genuine question. I can't get one of you guys to call in. I have a genuine question for a Bears fan. Call your boy loud. You're from Virginia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had you listed.
I'm an Eagles fan anyway. Yeah. I'm from over there.
Boy, the Eagles are tearing it up,
but
man.
I don't like to speak up or nothing, but I'll just.
Hey, Jalen Hurts should text your punter and say you aren't going to be punting much this year because the Eagles are. That's for real.
No, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the spirit, but you don't gotta. The punter is going to be sitting there coming out the punt, and he's going to have a smirk on his face, like, I thought I wasn't punting.
But it all, what it also does, and this is the greater problem, and everybody that thinks I'm a hater on Caleb, they just wait. You know what this does? When a defensive player says, like, they ain't going to score on us, whatever, and then it's like, oh, boy, you just freaking made a meme, bro. You just created a meme. Now you got a Caleb Williams meme that's going to live for the entire rest of his career. If this team starts off 0-3 or 1-4 or 1-3, like, good luck, because that meme is coming out. Oh, this punter's never going to be used, and he's going to be out there, 17 times in a game, and it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do then? He's planting seeds, unfortunately.
It's nearsighted is what it is.
Yeah.
If that does happen, the punter's going to be sitting there, kind of elbowing him like, that text.
It's also demeaning, though, too. Like, it's almost like somebody that doesn't have good social skills or whatever. He doesn't. He doesn't have very good social skills. It looks like he does, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He loves the spotlight very well, but he's very awkward. And to text your punter who just got brought on, he's probably excited about his job and his craft. And you essentially don't understand that your text is demeaning his job. Like, you're not going to... But someone's going to say, that's just, he's pumped up and motivated. It's funny. It's good playing. But, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a dumb thing to do. Not to mention more dumb, not just because of that, not because of the punter. More dumb because, like, bro, you haven't taken a snap in the NFL. And you're already saying you want ownership of the team, which was such a stupid comment. Whoever drafts me should give me ownership of the team. Dumb comment. You haven't taken a snap in the NFL. You're talking about championships. You're talking about never punting. You're talking about ownership of the team because it's going to be so good under your tutelage. And these are the kind of things that plant these stupid meme seeds, bro.
It'll be really bad if it backfires.
Yeah.
Really bad.
This is a $5 hauler from Krim who says, hey, Smitty, McCaffrey ran away as the best running back last year. Either he's running back one this year or his handcuff Grendo is a midseason monster. True statement. The problem with this thinking, Krim, is that we believe as a sleeper of the channel, Grendo, he's great. But will the Niners even put him in the backup role at any point? Because Shanahan with rookies, it's tough to read him. And as much as I believe Grendo's better than both other running backs, Mason and this duo that they got behind McCaffrey, I don't think that it's a surefire, lock to be Guarendo's job to lose anytime soon. So I don't disagree that he's a fantastic prospect. And let me just say, for as bad as the Niners, I think, botched the first pick given the scenario, because I think they could have got Dejean, however you want to say his name, and amazing cornerback, like one of the better cornerbacks in this draft by far. You could have got him and probably still Parasol or McConkey. You still got two players I really like. I love Guarendo and I also love Parasol. So these are two good selections at the end of the day. But I like them. We just gotta we definitely a midseason monster potential in Guarendo for sure. Like he could crack the midseason monster list without trying. But will he be the number 2? I don't know. That's the part we got to look into, because I could put him on the midseason monster list now, but if I don't feel confident that Shanahan will put him in there ahead of Mitchell or Mason, how is he going to get playing time? How's Parasol going to get playing time? Everybody talking about Parasol in San Francisco right now. They didn't even know who he was. I went into Roger's live stream and mentioned his name just like I did Ayuk the year they took him. Nobody even knew who he was. They're all looking up film on him after, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you can't get excited about whoever your team drafts, but now he's a dog. But the only problem is Shanahan's got a loaded wide receiver room and a guy named Jennings, who everyone thinks is a dog, that's in front of him. And you've got Ronnie Bell, who they don't use, who's also, I believe, a dog. I think he's a bigger dog than Jennings. And you just it's hard to know what's going on. That's what makes me think maybe there's still a shot in hell Debo gets traded, but Ayuk can't get traded. He can't. I don't think. It could happen, but it's a long shot. Debo, at least you're trading a player on contract, and it's in a sense it's going to hit the Niners hard with the dead cap, but the Niners have kind of made their bed, and Debo's not extremely happy according to Diana Rossini, and Debo shot that down reportedly with a retweet or an Instagram post or both, saying these reporters, man, after she said that she talked to Debo on the phone and said, how do you feel about them drafting essentially your replacement? And he says that, he's fine, he knows what's going on, and that he's fine staying in San Francisco and chilling or whatever. But it made it sound like he was like, whatever, it is what it is type of reaction. And Debo, clapped back as if that was reported wrong. But Diana Rossini had a phone conversation with him. So, we could pretend that conversation, he said, she said. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that Debo's probably not happy that they've drafted his heir apparent. And he probably is like, look, I kind of feel like unloved here. Maybe I do want to go somewhere else. Maybe I do want to go. It's a crowd. Like, who wants to play in a crowded wide receiver room anyway? You know what I mean? Like, I think the way they're treating Ayuk right now, and now they're further apart on a contract than they've ever been, unless the Niners are going to eat crow and go toward the higher price contracts, which they didn't need to do if they just signed him earlier. It's a dumb process. The Niner way is ridiculous with contracts. Costs them a ton of money to do it this way. So, we'll see. All I know is that Shanahan's not the most consistent guy with playing rookie players. Look at Danny Gray. Look at, even young players, inexperienced players, Ronnie Bell. Look at any rookie, really. Any rookie minus a couple rare scenarios where they have nobody left and they just throw like Eli Mitchell in. He doesn't love to use rookies. And they get doghoused very easily. So, I don't know. Guarendo is a fantastic player. It's a very, very good player to watch. Definitely mid-season monster capable. I almost wish he didn't go to San Francisco, though. I know you want him to work out there, but you got like a whole pecking order that he's got to jump through. All right. Hey, call your boy Loud. Anything else, bro?
No, that's all I got.
All right. I'll see you later. We're probably going to end it here. And I'll come back for the 8 p.m. show. We've got 287 on Twitter, 126 on YouTube. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. Appreciate you all being here. And we'll be back for the 8 p.m. show. I might jump a little early and go live like a half hour to an hour early on the 8 p.m. show. Thank you all. And Calvin with an additional super chat here. Calvin with a $10 holler. $10 hollers get moonshots. And Calvin said, wasn't your thought process ranking McCaffrey low because of his injury due to age? If he plays 15 to 17 games, then McCaffrey to the moon. If not, the handcuff, I believe Grendo wins leagues. It's possible. Like I said, he's a midseason monster potentially, no doubt about it. He could easily crack our midseason monster list. I've had him on there as a potential ad for a while. What it might more be about is having the San Francisco backup placeholder. Very careful way of saying that it's Grendo. Maybe we'll have Grendo's face with Eli Mitchell and Mason, peeking from behind and have like almost the trio there because we don't know. I mean, what you just asked was what I believe I answered it, and I'm going to answer it the same way. Is you're probably correct. A backup will be being used, but we just don't know if it's Grendo, Krim. We don't know. That's the problem. So if he does become the backup, yeah, he's got tons of value. But there's 4 variables and moving parts there, though. Not only does McCaffrey have to get hurt, you also have to have the right backup, and it makes it kind of a complex game. And as much as you want to say it's Grendo, I believe it. How do we feel about Shanahan feeling that same way? Because Shanahan's going to feel a different way. So it's a great thought, and he's certainly in the thought of a midseason monster edition. No doubt about it, Krim. No doubt about it. All right, see you guys all. Appreciate you. Krim, thank you for dropping the super chats. Dan the Grim Reacher, Krim dropping the $5.99 Hedge dropping a load, and Krim dropping a $10 wad. So appreciate you guys all dropping those super chats on this fine breaking news edition of the Fantasy Football Show. See you all a little bit earlier than 8 p.m. today.
A-Chan. A-Chan is the man. His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
A-Chan is the man.